Well, I decided it's finally time for me to get a nice new big truck. And so this is what I picked up. It does need a lot of work. Not too bad. It runs. And it'll move. But it needs tires, and at the moment it just won't stop. So I'm gonna have to work on the brakes some. It's a 1958 REO F20 Gold Comet. I haven't seen another F20, but I can tell by the emblems. Most of these trucks I've seen, they actually have another emblem there that says REO. Oh, last night when I got it, first thing I did was get this parking brake freed up. And I'm gonna be going under tonight and getting it adjusted up so it'll hold the truck still. This was rusted solid, that button wouldn't move, and it was pulled back about halfway about there. And you could pull it back further, but you couldn't let off of it. So I took a wire wheel around the knob here, and I put a little bit of transmission fluid and WD-40 on it, and I drove it down until it came free. Of course, then the button was stuck in. So I had to take my torch and heat it up real good and hot, and just keep a dripping WD-40 around here while it was really hot. And I grabbed the wire down here with some vice grips and tapped it up till it came free. And I took my file where I'd marred it with a hammer and just got it working good and loose now. So it's completely free. Moves nice and easy and clicks now. Well, I went under there last night and I sprayed everything down I was gonna have to mess with today with some more WD-40. Now when I picked up some more, oh, not too bad. She's holy, but not in the places you expect. Got a nice little hole there in my windshield trim. I'm gonna replace these anyhow, along with all the side glasses cracked on the outside. And I'll get me some new felt channel. And I have to see if I can make some of this wing window trim. This is seized. I sprayed it last night. I'm gonna have to spray it again. Eventually, of course, the windows are quite jammed up. I'll have to take the panels apart and get them all lubed up and free. Not too bad. I expect about 20 or 30 years ago somebody put all this blue paint on it. Still don't look too bad today, but they painted over the shift pattern. And I believe this is a vacuum switch for the 2-speed rear end, which don't work. I went under the truck to investigate it, and the hose is all rotten. One of them's actually fallen off. So I'm going to see if I can't just figure out how to convert to electric and put a little knob here on the shifter. And of course we got the big old steering wheel for the manual steering, which doesn't work too good for me because I got a bit of a belly on me and it rubs on it. So there's a little bit of play in that wheel. I have to see if I can tighten up the rack. When I get running, I'm going to see how it steers, and if I can, I'm going to switch to a slightly smaller steering wheel, or maybe do something where I can give it a tilt wheel or something. Ain't too bad. None of the gauges actually work as far as I can tell, so I'm going to have to replace all of them. They're still the originals. I've got one light that'll come on, none of the rest of them work. Headliner ain't in too bad a shape, but somebody over the years did some boogering with it. So that'll have to be fixed. There is some rusty spots I'll have to clean up. All in all, ain't too bad. It runs pretty good. So let me go take it around the other side. Whew. Gas tank's not currently hooked up. I think it's filled to here with old tar gasoline sludge. So I'm gonna have to get that taken down and find some way to clean all that out of there. I'm hoping acetone will mostly dissolve it. There's a little bit of rust on the bottoms of the doors. Ain't no big deal. I can cut that out and weld in new pieces. It still has the original brakes, so I'm gonna have some access to the master cylinder under here. I've still got one original mirror, but I think I'm gonna put a Corvette master cylinder on here so I can have separate front and rear brakes. Old Spartan turn signal. I'll probably have to take that apart and clean it up, get it working again. I'm missing the holder for this one, but it's an old truck. This inside door latch here on this door don't work. Again, I'm gonna have to take the door panel off and see what's disconnected in there. I think somebody broke it years ago, because this one's beat all to hell. I think it was just stuck and somebody beat on it until it came loose. And of course I'm gonna have to do something about the windshield wipers. I only got one. The other one's missing. Let's see if I can get this hood up. Ugh. There was a fuel line here run into the cab into a gas can. I'm guessing the mechanical fuel pump down there gave out, or maybe they gave up and just did this after that tank got all gummed up from sitting. But it starts pretty easy. Just a few turns of the key once you got fuel to it. Let me see if I can get down here to this tag. Get a good look at that. Oil's pretty clean. I mean, it starts easy even though the coil's all rusty. And it had some cruise control for back in the day here. This little cable goes to a knob in the inside so you can pull it up and just set your throttle. The linkage was quite loose and sloppy. I tightened it up some, but so you can see I got some maintenance to do. I'm gonna have to replace these ball sockets because they just ain't holding on. But the radiator holds water. It don't overheat. That was my bad yesterday. I spilled some of that there. I think that's the oil filter canister style. Maybe that's what I think it is. Don't know yet. Now I got these vacuum lines here, and I think this is what operates the 2-speed differential in the rear. But they rotten and fall off there in the back. These horns got the Wasp special in there. They still toot. But yeah, I'm gonna go under and see if I can get that parking brake tightened up to where it'll actually engage. And in spite of being as old as it is and kind of wobbly and loose, all these boards are actually pretty solid. This thing was built heavy duty back in the day. I haven't actually gotten up in there to walk around, but for the most part it's all good and solid, even the tailgate here. And if I have to, I got my sawmill, I can cut some new ones, but these are still quite sturdy. Alright, well, I figured I'd give y'all a showing what I got going on here with the parking brake. It's a drive shaft unit. I got it set now since I've adjusted it up, which was just breaking loose this lock nut and running this top one up until it was barely touching. I got the brake set on now just so I could see how far I'd have to pull it back to get it tight. And it's holding the shaft. Of course, there's no load on it at the moment. But when I let it off, it lets it move freely. I don't have it over tight. It does rub a little bit, but I think that's because of how rusty this is. Since it ain't been set in umpteen billion years. And other than that, I've just been going around and spraying about every nut and bolt I can find that I might have to undo with some PB Blaster. There's our in the floor single brake master cylinder. It's going to be one of the first things I replace. I'm going to try and just install maybe an old Corvette one with an 1.1/8 bore, dual chamber, and run one to the front brakes and one to the rear. The rear are going to be a bit of a pain in the neck. I think I'll be able to get them front wheels off without too much trouble. Maybe rebuild them wheel cylinders, and so at least I'll have some kind of running brake. But everything on here is serviceable. There's grease fittings everywhere. I think this here box is for operating that vacuum differential back there. I'm not sure about that. It says hydrovac on it back here. Not much else. Maybe I spray a little more PB, I'll be able to read something else on it. But all the lines on it are just rotting away. So if I kept this system for changing the rear differential, it'll be a lot of work to redo all this. I'm going to see if I can get a newer electric switch to work on it, so I can just do away with all this cobbled vacuum mess here. Not exactly sure what all of this stuff is, but the air lines run to this tank. I'm guessing that's maybe to hold some vacuum for operating that rear switch back there on the differential to go between the high and low. That line there on the top, right up there, it's completely rotted off, so I'm guessing the little rubber lining inside that's probably shot as well. So I'm going to go back there and I'm going to spray all that down with some PB Blaster, and so maybe in a few days I can take it off. So I'm going to get back to spraying the PB Blaster and then come on back out and see if I can start it up and maybe move it a little bit now that I got the parking brake functioning. Alright y'all, I got my temporary gas tank set up there. damn door. Let me out! Turn it one way or the other. It's fucking hot in there.